Next clip I want to do. You were actually the first time you were on my show.
Yeah.
I had some ladies on the show.
Yeah.
And we had a whole conversation about being vulnerable in front of your woman. Remember this clip?
Yep.
And you're like, fuck that. No. If you cry in front of a woman, here's what happens. So let's play that clip. We'll have that discussion the other side. Nat, you got this?
The woman is some of the worst advice that modern day women give to men, because if I sit there and I cry to you, oh my God, my life is hard, blah, 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 you might sit there and console me for a bit, but deep down you're like, and you're going to go and find someone.
That is so not true.
I know.
No, vulnerability shows vulnerability is so powerful.
Again, this is a common example of women saying one thing but doing another. They're saying this right now, but deep down, if your man came to you and was crying on your shoulder saying, I don't know what's going on, her vagina's going to... Can I finish? Can I finish? Her vagina's going to dry up. She ain't going to want to fuck with him anymore. She's going to look for a stronger, more capable man, because women are designed to look for security.
Just because they cry once, bro?
Hey, man, I can't tell you how many times we've brought girls on the show with their own, they tell us on air, one time my boyfriend cried in front of me, and I never looked at him the same. Being vulnerable.
Okay. So even my question on the show is like, so what is acceptable as a man? What do you think? You know, because you even said earlier, we all have emotions, but we're not emotional. You know, I'm a big advocate and believer in stoicism. Yeah. That's something that I've had to learn before I came to Valuetainment. Pat gave me a book, PBD, shout out to him. It's called Meditations, Marcus Aurelius. Yeah. And stoicism essentially is like, whether great things happen to you or shitty things happen to you, you just kind of got to be the rock and deal with it, be a stoist. Yeah. How do you grapple with this? Like you, sometimes you might get triggered. Like, okay, so a man, emotions, dealing with their women, life's not easy. We all know life's tough. Yeah. How do you guys handle this?
Well, let me ask the girls. How many of you want a vulnerable man? Raise your hands. 3. Okay, no, that's cool. And then on the couch, how many of you want a vulnerable man?
Shout on the couch. Vulnerable man.
1. Okay. Anybody else want a vulnerable man?
No, absolutely not. But here we do.
Is it stupid to say to a certain extent? Is it considered stupid?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, maybe not like, oh, like my life is terrible, I hate this, I hate that, but more in the sense like if I do something for him and he shows a little bit of...
Well, the thing is with vulnerability is that you're in a position where it could be, you know, a KO. It's essentially critical. Because that's what makes it vulnerable in the first place. There's a difference between like showing some emotion versus being vulnerable. Yeah. So you said you want a guy to be vulnerable. Why?
Because I like a man that can show off their feelings. So it's beautiful when you can connect with your man with their feelings.
Okay. So what feelings do you want to see?
The men's are more stronger than the women's. But you can show me, if you are my partner, I'd like you show me your feelings. And that's for me is a vulnerability.
This is a problem.
Okay, what about you?
No.
Why?
I think showing vulnerability with someone is very, very special, and I think it takes a lot of bravery to do so. So if someone can show vulnerability to me, I feel special, and I also look up to them a lot because they can do it. And they can admit fault, they can feel upset about things, like they can feel love, they can feel the connection.
But I feel like when he means
give me an argument. If you can do all the insults, but it's not gonna prove me wrong at all.
I feel like when he means vulnerable, it doesn't mean like out of emotion.
It doesn't mean that you're like schizophrenic and depressed and it's just like going to the mental health.
Melina, she's talking.
Yeah. It's not like vulnerable, like everything affects him. It's emotionally stable, that they can control their emotions. It's different. Vulnerable, it means like everything affects him. I don't want a person like that.
No, it doesn't mean that.
He can be
all right, so who else wants a vulnerable man? 1, 2, who else raised their hand?
It's
okay, why?
Because I think that being in touch with your emotions and, you know, be a leader, as you say, but be able to balance that and show your emotions and how you feel truly and not put a face on all the time is something that's attractive to me.
But wouldn't it be fair to say that as a leader, you need to be able to lead regardless of how you feel?
Correct.
Yeah, so you can still lead, but that doesn't mean you can't share being vulnerable, in private. You can share in private with your woman how you truly feel and ask for her support. That's why she's there too, no?
It doesn't work. A guy cried in front of me, and I never was attracted to him again.
What is that?
It's because you're a shitty person.
I'll take a Henny and Coke. Thanks.
All right, on the couch. On the couch.
You girls are making me very vulnerable right now. I just ordered a cocktail.
Yeah. On the couch, someone said they want a vulnerable guy. Why do you want a vulnerable guy? On the couch.
I don't want to
raise their hand. I think she had a white
It was a girl with the white top.
Yeah, give her a mic.
Alicia Keys over there. What you got?
Yeah. Why do you want a vulnerable man?
Can we keep a mic over there, guys, and just like ready to rock?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think a man should be vulnerable to an extent. There was a guy that I was talking to. He did cry when he couldn't deal with a certain situation, and I don't like. I didn't.
Where's
really,
that guy
like,
now?
That was.
Yeah. Where is he now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, at the time I was like kind of turned off, but I think.
So, see,
like,
and I love when women say, because here's the thing, that was a trick question, ladies. I love how women say, I want it to be vulnerable to an extent, but the whole root word of vulnerability is that there is no extent. You don't know where it's going to go.
You don't even want to have a woman that's a mess, but you don't want to have a woman that's just an absolute mess. Like you don't want them to cry all the time. But when you're describing emotional men, you're describing them as like you're crying all the time.
But that assumes that men and women are the same. If a woman is vulnerable, it doesn't have the same negative stigma. It doesn't turn us off to the same extent as when a man is vulnerable, because men don't date girls for security. Women date men for security.
Well,
if I'm supposed to be your bodyguard and protect you, and I'm constantly crying and I don't know what the fuck is going on, you're not going to feel safe around me. That's just how it is.
Can we admit those limits? So, like, let's say you're like married to someone and his mom dies. Like, if he's like a little bit sad and you be there for him, like, you're not talking about that, right? You're talking about like day-to-day kind of stuff.
Like a mess.
But okay, so let me frame the question this way, because here I am. I've cried twice in the last 10 years. Once when my dad died.
Okay.
Okay, cried.
Right.
And I didn't even like my dad. We had a contentious relationship, but my dad died.
Right.
Second was when a long-term girlfriend of mine got cancer. It was 24, gorgeous, cancer, disastrous. So that was really freaking tough. I cried. Okay, so, but I've done business deals that have gone like awry, not crying. Yeah. Right. I've lost employees. I've had major issues. I'm not crying.
Right.
So I think there's time and place for it. So I think what she's asking you is, like, when's the last time you cried? Like, if God forbid something happened to one of your parents, you would cry.
Yeah, no. I mean, my grandma passed away a few months ago. I haven't actually shared this, and yeah, I went on. There was a girl over. I went over and I went over on the balcony. I cried by myself, and like I saw her coming. I was like, fucking, wipe that shit up immediately.
Feel really special.
And I told her, I told her to leave me alone. And the reason why is because even though it sounds so great to be able to open up in front of your girl, I understand that the female hard wiring is literally designed to look for security and be repulsed by inadequacy. So by you crying, you don't know how your girl's going to react to it. For example, here's a perfect example right now. When we asked her the question, she raised her hand, I want a vulnerable man, right? So, but when we asked her, what ended up happening, he cried and it turned her off. You don't know how a woman's going to respond until it actually happens in front of her. Yeah. Every girl is different and how they respond to that, you opening up your emotions. So what I tell guys instead is, go ahead and be vulnerable with a man, no homo. And the reason why is because guys that you trust, because men understand the masculine experience. Women don't. Women really don't know what it's like to be a man. Hell, most girls don't even know what men want, let alone understand the masculine burner performance and masculine experience. So if you're able to open up with your guy friends, yeah, they'll make fun of you about it. You guys maybe go get a beer after, whatever it is. But you're better doing that because there's not going to be the same negative ramifications to your relationship as a woman. Are there women out there that you could cry in front of and nothing will change? Absolutely. But are you willing to take that risk?
Okay.
I think the issue is as well as that, like, both parties, we don't know the extent to it. So for example, let's say I cried to Melina. She may be like, you know what? I like this. This is great. But to lady over here, I cried to her. Oh, you know what? That's a turnoff. So as a man, why risk it at all? What's the point?
Yeah.
Another thing too.
Because in that case, you know who is the good one, right? If you try it sometime, if you know that your girl would leave you right away, she's probably not like the best person to date in that case, right?
But once again, though, it's to make things work, right? And ultimately, why even risk it in the first place?
Yeah, but in that case, you're never really gonna know if she actually cares about you.
Yeah, you can.
It depends. Of course not, because if she would leave, if you show a little bit of emotions, she clearly doesn't care about you. She only cares about herself.
Most women don't want to be cried to.
No, that's not true. I think you feel really special if a man is opening up to you.
It's very easy to speak in 2020 hindsight on a podcast with hundreds of people, not actually thousands of people watching, and say, I wouldn't change. But it's much different when you're dependent on that man for your livelihood, for your home, for your income, for your food, for your children. You're going to have way different priorities when you see that man cry in front of you and you understand that guy controls your future and he isn't like stable himself. You're going to think twice. It's always, women typically always talk in ideals versus the real. The real is when this guy's supposed to be your leader. He's supposed to be leading you through life, which life is really tough, and he can't even handle it. You're going to look otherwise.
Do you think that the girl would have left you if she saw you cry on the balcony over your grandma?
I'm sorry?
Do you think that girl would have left you if she saw you cry over your grandma?
It's a different
No,
circumstance.
she wouldn't have because I had built up a certain resume with that girl.
But you think it would have lowered, it would have higher her risk to leave?
I'm not going to risk it.
Okay, but you think there could be a risk in that case?
There's a risk that isn't worth it because I understand that the cornerstone of female admiration is respect, and I'm not willing to risk that to open up to her because I don't know what happens when you open up Pandora's box. We know women are emotional. We know women are erratic and women are controlled by their emotions. If she gets the feeling, right, which could be fleeting or not, that I'm not an adequate partner and me crying this temporary thing of weakness, that could fuck up the relationship long term. I can't tell you how many girls have come on the show. I love my guy, blah, blah, blah. I saw him cry in front of me. I don't know what happened. I just I could never look at him the same.
Do you think
we had a girl hold on, Fresh. I feel like you want to answer this question as well.
Yeah.
Myron, I appreciate you. You just got vulnerable here with me.
That's what I was going to say. That was
okay. Look at all you got. I mean, your grandma died, bro. I think that's hello. When's the last time that you had to cry?
I don't.
Period.
but
Period.
okay,
Only
so
me.
I get the comment, right? That I'm heartless.
Yeah.
But I have emotions, but like I just do it differently. I'll go for a walk with my dog to the dog park. I'll like drive my car. That's how I kind of let loose my emotions. So, for example, if my girl said to me, "Hey, how are you feeling today?" I feel great. Always great because once again, I'm the Rock. So why even put that in the atmosphere where I'm like, oh, I'm sad today? For what?
Gotcha. So how you feeling right now?
I feel great. Hold on. It's funny, right? Funny because like the whole point of this is to make things last with your partner, right? So I want to minimize all the things that can go wrong in this relationship. So ultimately, some girls answer, for example, I want a vulnerable man to an extent. We don't know the extent, so why even go down that road? It makes no sense.
A big part of, like another thing too also, and it's gonna sound fucked up or whatever, but as a man in a relationship with a chick, your job is to mitigate risk.
Yep.
And that's why, like, why do you guys think I tell you all the time, plan the date, have everything mapped out, you control everything. Because when you leave it up to a girl, if the date sucks, she ain't gonna take accountability and be like, wow, I was really boring on the date.
It's your fault.
It's your fucking fault. So you might as well go ahead and control all the variables anyway and mitigate risk and not leave anything really open up to interpretation. And that's what women want. Every girl here on this panel, they may admit it or not, is they just want to be pretty and fucking show up. That's it. They don't want to have to plan or do anything. They just want to be there and exist and have the guy be in the driver's seat at all times. That's what women really want and desire. That's why so many girls get mad. Plan a date. Guys don't plan nothing. I don't want to go to your house. Netflix. That comes from their rooted mindset of they want a guy who's assertive, dominant, and a leader and has his shit together. That's what they want.
And you know what's funny? I guarantee you, if your dad, who's your rock, cried in front of you, you'd be like, this is my hero. Why is he crying? Same thing with your man. Why'd you want your man to cry?
I mean, if I saw my dad cry, I would. I mean, when his mom died, he cried.
That's your father, though.
And I didn't like disrespect him for that. Clearly, I was like, damn, I've never seen him cry before, and it feels insane. Like
that's reasonable,
I got to see him.
That's your father.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, that was a really, really wonderful thing
that
because
he would cry at that moment.
Yeah, because he cried about his mom. Right? But wait, can I ask you something? I'm really curious. How many women do you think are out there? Do you think there are women out there that would be okay with their man being emotional from time to time?
I said that earlier. There are some, but it's not worth the risk.
It's not worth the risk.
It's a minority. So again, I always give guys advice from a practical standpoint based on probabilities, not possibilities. The probability that she will lose respect for you is extremely high. So why risk it?
Last point right here, then we got to get some super chats.
I mean, most women, like, when men cry in front of them, it's very uncomfortable. Even, like, guy friends that I've had or anything, it's very uncomfortable to watch men cry. And if you're sexually attracted to them and they cry in front of you, I think it really just, in a sense, gives you an ick. I mean, if it's your man that's supporting you and supposed to protect you and then you're watching them break down and cry, it's kind of like, okay, well, if you're fearing for our security, well, then now I no longer feel secure. And it's kind of like you're depending on the man to keep you feeling secure. So if they're breaking down and crying in front of you, then you kind of lose that secureness. And I mean, like, yeah, is there a few women out there that would be okay with that? But I mean, the majority of women want a masculine and dominant man. And I mean, the exception to the rule is those that are okay with a beta and a simp. And if that's what you like, then that's what you like. And it's okay for them to cry in front of you because you're okay with that.
But and what you said before, my dad, never seen him cry.
Same.
What was beautiful about him not crying was a family member in our family died. What was beautiful was watching him hold my mom.
Why is he not allowed to show emotions?
No, I never said he wasn't allowed. I said it was beautiful to see how he controlled his emotions for his wife.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's a rock.
I had that shit inside.
That sounds like he went through a lot of pain to just keep that in and feel lonely.
But he had to be there to support her.
Does he really
before
have
we all
to
get
do
it
that
too
to be
emotional, we got to do some
disrespected?
super chats. We got to pay some bills out here. Respect to everybody out there doing the super chats.